Hey, everybody, welcome to Afternoon Market Update. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Market Action. Sorry, Joey. Afternoon Market Action. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Normally, we have Patrick here, but right now, Patrick is tied up into a few other activities going on within the education department, so it will be me. Hopefully, you will not be disappointed by that. If you are hearing me, by all means, please respond in the chat, preferably with VV Nation, to let me know that I am coming across loud and clear. Lee says, good morning, Glenn. Tuesday's week CPI numbers will have ensured the hike will be 50 basis points. Don't think we'll ever get 100 basis points. You know, that's was something that I've been saying for the longest time. If the Fed was really serious about being able to go after inflation, that one of these rate hikes had to be about 100 basis points, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So it is what it is. Remember, that was just my opinion. My opinion doesn't count for a hill of beans when it comes down to the Fed, because you can't fight what the Fed's going to do. And today is Fed Day. Today is Fed decision day, the last rate hike before the end of the year. And I think that the 50 basis points is priced into the market. We're going to keep our eye on what's going on. So we did come on a little earlier today. For those of you who are here, we did come on a little earlier today, 10 minutes before the announcement. And then the Fed comes on at 2:30, of which we will stream it and we will listen together with it. I do too, says Fernando. Just get it over with. So I know you want 75 basis points. It's not that I want it. I think it's still deserved to make sure that we don't fall short on the inflation story. So real quick, let's go into a couple of stories before the Fed comes out. Fed meeting, getting ready for a hawkish surprise. Interesting in regards to this. The S&P 500 rally faces a test. So the market is going up prior to the Fed announcement with the anticipation that it's going to be a lower rate increase. Next one is, here's everything the Fed Reserve is expected to do on Wednesday. FOMC will bring an assortment of moves to chew on. Again, that's going to be at 2:30. In addition to the expected half-point interest rate increase, investors will be watching how the central bank communicates its future intentions. And there's no need at this point to continue hiking rates, but of course they will. That comes from RBC Capital. Now, with the 50 basis points, I think it's going to be the entree into the Santa rally, which officially kicks off on the 23rd of December, I think, and on vacation says no less than 75 basis points. So Police SWAT says heading to the moon today. Listen, yeah, show us your money, says Jamie. Listen, all I'm saying is the Fed's going to do what the Fed's going to do, and the market's going to react. It's going to react, and we're going to watch it live, as well as the Fed meeting. Now, this is another one. Slowing inflation could intensify the Fed debate over when to stop raising interest rates. The thing about the raising of the interest rates is the job market. The job market is still pretty strong. And I think that the Fed is walking, I've said this on more than one occasion, walking the tightrope of still raising inflation to go raising interest rates to go after inflation, while the job market's 11.4 million jobs out there and people are still hiring. Normally, in this kind of situation with the rising interest rates to go after inflation, jobs shrink. The economy is already shrinking, but the job market is still stronger than I think the Fed would like to see. Next one is, falling inflation is good news for the Fed. Just don't get too excited. I still think that the big rallies that continue to happen when this happens still is spurred on by energy and oil. I've got an order in to get back into WTI, but it's got to get back up to $6 before the order executes. I still think, I just did a video. We just did a video yesterday. Joey did a great job on the thumb for that video, but the content laid out why oil is poised to start to move higher. All right, so how many of you watched that? How many of you watched yesterday's video? I think that I tried to do an unbiased video of why I felt that oil was going up, and the things that were there were all factual. Looking at OPEC, looking at China, looking at Russia, looking at that we sold off a lot of our oil, our strategic reserves. We're going to have to replace that. Well, that's going to be demand. That's going to be demand, and it may be at a lower price or whatever, but we're going to have to buy those barrels of oil back, which is going to increase on the demand as well. So again, I tried very hard to make it an unbiased video, and I've been in the oil game playing WTI, but I got out of it because I started losing money, but I think it's setting up to go again. Going all in today, no more pullbacks, according to my uncle, says Police SWAT. Listen, I ain't said nothing like, did I say anything like that? Is that Uncle? We didn't say, says my Uncle Jim. I got you. All right. Are you fed up with all of this now, Glenn? Wow. I'm going to have to laugh at that. That's right. We have to see what we still have this exuberance going on. I still think we got a lot more downside left because of earnings. I think that people are so enamored by inflation and how big of a story it is. But I think a lot of people forget that it's the earnings, the engine that drives the market higher. See, with all of this and the shrinking economy, earnings, earnings are still falling. They're still good as far as VectorVest is concerned, but they're falling. So I put that out there. $70 strike price to refill the reserves. And I think that the Fed is trying to push it down as far as they can. The Fed is trying to push it down as far as they can so that they can buy it all back at a much lower price. And you know something? It is what it is. Brad says earnings are in energy. Energy stocks have made a lot of money, and the current administration is saying that they're price gouging. Listen, folks, I don't think it's price gouging. I think it's called capitalism, and it's supply and demand. Anybody agree with that? Type a yes or a no. Do you agree with what oil companies are doing? I type a 1 if you think they're gouging, type a 2 if you feel that it is the laws of supply and demand. I am on the side of 2, that it is the law of supply and demand, that it is capitalism. It is what we've been bred of. And you know something, if you answer 1, it's okay. I'm not judging anybody. This is a non-judgment zone. All right, but I'm just curious. I think that the oil companies are doing what they need to do, and the administration says that, well, we've got a lot of the ability for you to go do it, but it's not cost effective for them to do it. All right, especially if we're pushing more towards clean energy. That's another video for another time. All right, that's another video for another time. And I do see the ones coming in that say that the oil companies are price gouging. All right, so I look at it this way. I'm a DJ. As a matter of fact, I got to do a party this weekend. And if people are willing to pay more or willing to hire me and I charge higher prices because I'm in demand, is that wrong? All right, is that wrong? And I think it's the same thing when it comes to everything else from a supply-demand perspective. All right, so yes, 2-minute warning before the announcement comes out. I'm on CNBC. Hopefully it will pop up right away as soon as it comes. Fusion is coming. Fireblazer is going to take a long time. I want to do a video on the Fusion, but the companies that are involved in it are all private companies, and I don't have a ticker symbol for this whole Fusion process yet. So once I do, I think I want to do a story on that. I think that this is a good thing. To the point of almost limitless energy. It sounds great on paper, but I don't know. It sounds great on paper, but I don't know. Thorium is coming, says Fireblazer. We'll have to take a look at that. Any of us running a business would do the same, says bro. So listen, it is what it is. It is what it is. Is SQQ getting ready to explode higher? We'll see, Police SWAT. So we've got about a minute before the actual announcement comes. I got my phone on to see if anything pops up on my phone. I've got CNBC up, and in half an hour when the Fed comes on, we're going to stream that as well. So let's get ready. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. And if anybody, so with that being said, I can get a faster response right here. I can get a faster response right here. All right. So at 2 o'clock, look at the pullback on the VectorVest composite. Let's go see what this, let's go see CCC. Let's go see. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing. 50 basis points. Here we go. Let's go. I got nothing. I got nothing yet. Nothing came through. Glenn, phone home. Glenn, I'm not phoning home. Let's go see. There it is. There it is. A half basis point. So there's the news. Fed raises interest rates a half a point to the highest level in 15 years. So even with the 50 basis points, it's still a big raise overall for in interest rates in the last 15 years. Fed raises, and it's only a half a point. All right, let's go back into the system. Interesting. Look at the big move to the downside as it came in. All right, so let's go see. Initially, and you got to wait. The initial move is not always the right move. It is just the response to the move. So we're watching live as the market is going down. All right, let's go see if it can find a floor, because this is good news for the market, right? This is the anticipated news, and I'm watching as the market is going down. Let's go to, I'll move that. Let's go to the viewers. Let's go see what the industries, all the indices are right now. Let's stream them. 2 of them went into the negative. The S&P went negative. The Qs went negative. For those who are trading SQQQ, I would say be careful with that. This is just the initial move. Let's go back to the graphs. Let's go see if the market can find a floor. But this is, wow, the market's just falling like nobody. Yes, and you're right, Drew. That's why we're going to wait, because once the Fed comes on at 2:30 and people hear what he's got to say, then that's what's going to start to move the market further higher. Fed to 5.5 by March, or inflation will kick back up, which is worse than the market going down short term. Kevin, that is the reason why I think he needed to do the 75 basis points, because if you start to pull back right now, what's to stop inflation from rising back up again? And I do know that the raising of the interest rates are a laggard indicator. Folks, if you haven't already, this is a big day. If you haven't already, copy the stream. Copy the link for the live stream. Let's share it with people all over the place. We got a lot of people in here. There's a lot of people in here because today is a big day. Let's see if we can get even more people in here. But the live response to the initial call of the 50 basis points as the market fell off the earth. Let's go back to the viewers tab. All of the major indices are now in the red, and we'll have to take a look at what the Fed's going to say in about a half an hour. All right. So with that, we're gonna do this a little differently today. How about for those of you who are already trading stocks, what stocks are you in right now? And let's go see how they're affecting the stocks that you're currently in. For those of you who have some stocks out there, talk to me. What stocks are you looking at? All right, nuclear power for space. Drew, I still can't do a nuclear, that whole nuclear power, that goes for uranium. Tesla, all right, let the stocks come in. Amazon, AMZN, NFLX, ASRT, Johnson & Johnson, Coinbase, CPRX is a stock that I still currently own right now, Joel. GSL, SMCI, Conductors, ASRT is already on my list, OIS, T-Mobile, TMUS, SCI, TMUS, got out early this morning, says Nick, all right, FANG, FANG, Boeing, SMCI is already on my list, STNG, REL is one of the top stocks in our software, CPRX is already on my list, Gush, for oil, AEHR, Steel, another hot stock, ASC. I'm putting a lot of stocks in here, but we're going to go through them quickly. CI, Cigna, Microsoft, NEM, Newmont, that's gold. LTHM, another stock that I like. CMC, Taiwan Semi, another good rent. Is that the rent the one way? Who does that? I'm not putting stink butt in there. Mullen, I got a little bit of clean electric vehicle in there. HD and Lowe's, two good stocks. Glenn, what did you do? You go live and the market tanks. Thanks, Stock Time. I appreciate that. All right, let's go peep these out real quick. We're gonna go look at these. So as the market moved, as the Fed announcement came out, let's go take a look at these stocks, and I'm gonna put them all on a 1 month graph. And SMCI, a semiconductor coming, not overbought, oversold. I'm going to look at all of these from a technical perspective. I'm watching the 3 and the 8 down day today, but the 3 is still above the 8. I do like the earnings per share is positive and the growth at 42. I'd leave that alone. If you're in it, this is just the market move because of the market's move. REL, a little bit of a sideways move, big wicks at the top of these candles, which means a little bit of selling pressure right at a level of resistance at 27.08. The stock is not in overbought territory. RT is above the value of 1. I'd leave that alone. A lot of give back today, but I'd leave it alone. Nothing telling me to get out of it. CPRX, again, this is a stock that I own right at that level of resistance, sort of kind of like a double top right here. I do like the pull away of the 3 above the 8, but a lot of selling pressure. That is a shooting star pattern. Could be could still be a possibility of a reversal volume. It's not an overbought territory. I'd love to see if it can break above that level of resistance. CMC, the 3 has been below the 8. That would have been my time to get out on this date. If you're still holding it, I do have a level of support that I'd want you to keep your eyes on, which is right about here, about 47.73. Notice that was today's wick stopped right about that level. I'd leave it alone if you're in it. If you're not in it, I wouldn't get into it just right quite yet. I do like OIS though. Petroleum stocks are moving the market. SMCI, I just made a covered call out of my existing shares. I got you, Roger. That's not a bad play, especially if you're long on the stock overall. Yeah, we could probably watch the market side by side with this. Not until 2:30 though. What do you mean? Oh, watch the market side by side. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's go add new. And let's bring up the market timing graph. Let's go peep that out. Market timing. Can you just put that next to it? Yes, sort of, kinda. Let's detach it. I think I can make this happen. Let's go bring this over here. That's a good call, Joey. So here's the market. All right. Come on. Where's it at? There we go. Put that over there. And these are your stocks that we're looking at. Let's go put that over here. Here we go. Stretch that up. Come on. Where's the bottom? We started from the bottom. Now we're here. Bring that down. And bring that down. So now we're still looking at your stocks. We're still looking at your stocks. But I'm looking at, wow, the market's still just a falling. Market's still just a falling. I do like OIS, open candle, 3 and the 8. Not in overbought territory yet. I'd still keep my eye on it, but out of all of the stocks that we've been looking at, it is moving. All right. Now, ASRT, good looking stock. All right. You're right, Salt Shaker. Salt Shaker says it was supposed to bring a big rally. It won't happen probably until the Fed starts speaking. All right. It was only going to, we'll see. All right. But the market's still falling. ASRT, I like. ASRT, I like. That's just a down day. That does look like a little bit of a dark cloud cover, though. Could be a possibility of a reversal. I'd wait to see if it breaks below that level of the 3 exponential moving average. ASC, I own this stock too. This is another stock that I own. Big down day today, but the 3 is still above the 8. I bought the stock a couple of days ago when the 3 crossed above the 8. But now I'm watching it on an end of day basis. If the 3 does close below the 8, I'm probably going to think about getting out of that stock. TS, Taiwan. This is not Taiwan. This is Tenaris. The stock is not in oversold territory. Down day today. The 3 is still above the 8. I'd wait for end of day for the 3 to cross below the 8. But I'm also looking from this last level where it hit the level of resistance that it's trending down. Keep your eyes on that stock. Wow, Sting, Scorpio Tankers, another tanker ship like ASC. Big selling pressure at the top of the wick. Big selling pressure at the top of the wick. Just be careful. How to understand that the sold stock is over and will turn the market for that stock. Which parameter I need to see. And right now I'm looking for something like a 3-8 cross. And in this case, where STNG, whoever gave me STNG, the 3 is still above the 8, and the stock is still above the previous day's low. So I still say stay in that. Just be careful. Just stay in that, but be careful. Next one, STLD. Steel stock has been on the run. Look at that. We're looking at a 1-month graph. Now a down day. The 3 still above the 8. It's got a lot of above average volume, so there's a lot of conviction behind the move. This is just a down day. Patience is my kryptonite. So Salt Shaker, you gotta, something? You gotta have patience, and it's tough. I know that it's tough, especially when it depends on your money. That's why you gotta have hard stops in place, right? Wow, AEHR, not feeling that, and I wouldn't have been feeling that since here. When the 3 crossed below the 8 on 12.6, I wouldn't still, and if you're still in it, you do have a level of support sitting here at 2189, 2185. If it closes below that, that should be your line in the sand to get you out, but a big down day today nonetheless. Home Depot, a solid stock. For the most part, the 3 has been above the 8 for the majority of the 1-month time. A little bit of a bullish bearish candle above this level of former resistance of 329.37, serving as a level of support, but a lot of selling pressure on the stock. Be careful. The 3, though, is still above the 8. All right, David wants to look at SQQQ. We'll look at that in a second. I like CI. Big down day yesterday. No follow through today to a certain degree. A big wick at the top of that candle. Big wick at the top of the candle. And that pullback should have been expected with the stock being in overbought territory by way of stochastics. Lows. Home Depot looks a lot better than Lowe's. But the 3 and the 8 have crossed on lows. A lot of selling pressure on that. And again, a lot of the selling pressure or the big wicks on the candles that you see today is going to be conducive to the market moving down as the 50 basis points came out. And I'm with the many of you. I thought that that was going to spur on the day. But as the Fed comes on in about 16 minutes or so, we'll start to see what he's got to say. All right, we'll see what he's got to say. Let's go to the next one. FANG. Again, according to the video yesterday, I think oil is about to move. I like the bounce off a level of support. I like the convergence of the 3 and the 8. I'm seeing 2 days of indecision, though. 2 days of indecision. I'd feel a lot more confident when the 3 crosses above the 8 to go and get into them, which is why I've got my order in on WTI. But I put in a buy stop. The stock has got to go higher than where it is right now before the order executes. Looking at T-Mobile, not feeling it. The stock's 3 went below the 8 on 12.7, and it's been below ever since. Looks like it might have found a level of support. I need for the 3 to cross above the 8 before I turn around and take advantage of that. The stock is in oversold territory, so that bodes well for the stock to start to move up, but I'd really like to see the 3 cross above the 8. I'm watching the market now. I'm watching the rebound prior to the Fed coming on. CPR says, what's the parameter you said on other videos when stocks reach a bottom level and starts to turn up we need to keep an eye on? That is the MTI. That is the MTI, the market timing indicator, of which I'm not going to get into here. Normally, I do a lot more of that on Mondays. And I will continue to do that on Mondays. But I'm not going to do a lot of market timing throughout the rest of the week. But if you're a subscriber, the video is out there for you called Keep Your Eye on the MTI. Have a good day, Wayne. Oil seems to be holding steady. And I'm with you, Ramon. But if you're not in the oil stocks yet, let the trade come to you. If you're not in the oil stocks yet, let the trade come to you. All right. Let's go look at Microsoft. The 3 went above the 8 on 12.12. Stock's price is still moving higher on good volume. Again, because of the big pullback today, a lot of candles are exhibiting this big wick at the top of them. Johnson & Johnson, nice bottom left, top right after consolidating. The 3 went above the 8 yesterday. It's open candle today, a lot of wick, again, because of what's going on in the market. Next one is rent. This was an earnings play, wasn't it? Yeah, it was an earnings play when this hit my radar. Since then, man, the stock has been going up. And this is about renting. Do you know what this rent the runway is? It's about renting clothes or something. And I don't know. Santa Claus speaks in 15 minutes. We're going to see that. We're going to see that. Did the market cover yesterday's gap? Let's go put this on 1 month. And there's the gap up. It pulled down into the gap. But notice that on an end of day basis, the 3 is still above the 8, even on the market timing graph. All right. The 3 is still above the 8, even on the market timing graph. Do we still have a possibility of a rally? All right. Let me ask this question. How many of you think that the market is going to close in the green today? Type of 1. How many of you think it's going to close in the red today? Type of 2. Let me see where all your heads are at right now. How many of you think that the market is going to close in the green today? Type of 1. And a lot of people are thinking that after the Fed speaks today, that he's going to talk and everybody's going to say, yay. They're going to say, hip hop, hooray. Ho, hey, ho, hip hop, hooray. They might just be doing that. I don't know. But the Fed's got the ability to turn the market around. The Fed's got the ability to turn the market around when he does his commentary. All right, so I'm going to take some notes when he does. But rent, I do like. Out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 4 out of the last 5 days to include today, it's up. He's going to make us all feel warm and fuzzy, says Mark. How you doing, Mark? You know, he just might. He might make us all. Joey, you going to feel all warm and fuzzy when the Fed comes on today? No, he says no, he's not. SQQ may close in the green today, especially if the market continues to boom down, police SWAT. What do you think it will be after he speaks? You know something? What do I think? I think that he's going to talk about inflation's still a problem, that the jobs market is still a problem, but he's going to say something along the lines of we need to see what the steep rises that we've done in interest rates has really done. We've seen a pullback. We've seen inflation peak. Now let's go see with what we've done if inflation is really starting to trend lower. And I think that people want to hear that because they don't want him to be raising 3/4 basis points. So I think that we will end in the green. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents. And as I'm watching right now, I'm watching the wick on the bottom, some buying pressure. I'm watching that increase. All right, so we'll see. We will definitely see. And let's go put this back on intraday, 1 minute bars, current day. There's that rebound, a little bit of a rebound going on. There's that rebound coming into the meeting. Let's go to the last stock, which is Tesla. And I think that with Elon Musk, selling off some of his Tesla to fund the Twitter deal. I asked this question last week. How many of you think that at some point in time there's going to be a mass exodus from Tesla? I don't know. I think that at some point in time, the investors who are looking to grow the bottom line are going to be like, yo, there's other stocks out there for me to be in. And, Mr. Musk, you do what you got to do. I'm going to go put my money elsewhere. All right, so I'm just curious. That's very interesting. Roger says 302 people, only 50 likes. Listen, you know me. I'd like to have at least 100 likes before we leave, but I can't I can't twist your arms. Hey, before the Fed comes on in a few minutes, if you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon to be alerted. Like we came on early today. If you didn't have the bell icon, you wouldn't have known that, right? So make sure you do that. And again, I would love for you guys to share this link right now. We're back below 300 people. But again, today was a big day. I'm trying to grow the amount of people who come here on a weekly basis. So Listen, I put a lot into here. I put a lot into here to give you the information that you need to have. Not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. All right. Umesh, good to see you. Good to see you. Lito is in the house. Lito, what's up? Lito is here. Hold on. Everybody coming up into the room. Roger says, I was just noticing how few likes we had, and I was going to beg for likes on Glenn's behalf, but maybe people don't like his valuable content. That could be as well. Listen, I can't make nobody do nothing, right, Joey? I can only make Joey do stuff because Joey works for me. Right, Joey? Yeah, you do. Say hi to everybody, Joey. All right, that was Joey in the background. Brought to you by Afro Sheen. You know, last time I even heard about Afro Sheen was a long time ago. I got to shave. You think I got to shave? Hey, if you think I got to shave, put a 1 in the room. If you like my ingrowing beard, type of 2. All right, we got 9 minutes. We got 9 minutes. That's right. It's the Soul Train. Remember that? All right, Soul Glow. You remember that too? What was that? That was Coming to America. Yeah. It's this. Yeah. You know something? I never was able to get Jerry curls. I was never able to go get Jerry curls. Just didn't happen. All right. So, we got to have a little bit of fun in here. The market is serious stuff. The market is serious stuff, but you got to have a little bit fun. Lito, you can't type that in here. You can't type that in there, Lito. You can't type that. I hit allow. I got to take that off of there. I don't know how to do that. Lito, you can't do that. It's not that kind of room. Yeah, Lito, you can't do that. You thought I worked for Joey.
He does.
No, I don't. That's funny. How about that? That's funny. All right, we got about 8 minutes. No, he does. Why did you even type that in there? Because I do not work for you. I find to go pack up all that stuff for Tampa by yourself. Oh yeah, say that louder so Vivi Nation can hear. No, say it. What? Wait. No, say it. No, say it. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you won't say it now. All right. So Cheryl says, "Is your 3/8 exponential or simple?" It's exponential. All right, it's exponential. All right, Stock Time saying, "No, listen, don't beg for the likes. Listen, we almost at 100. Look at that. We're almost at 100. I love that. All right, MTI is not a parameter that I can add on a graph. I need an like stochastic. So no. So when I'm saying keeping your eye on the MTI, it's only can be shown on a market timing graph, not for an individual stock. If you're trying to look for the MTI on an individual stock, that won't work. So if you're looking for some semblance of when to get into an individual stock, that's a little different. That MTI is based on the whole market's perspective to determine if it's the right time to buy stocks or not. But if you're looking for individual stocks, like these stocks that I'm looking at right now, I like looking at the 3 and the 8. I like looking to see once the stock has found a level of a floor to wait for the 3 to go above the 8. CPR, does that make sense? That's what I like to see. And I can do that on any stock that you gave me. Here's where a stock found the level of support down here. I wait for the 3 and the 8. Boom. Was that a good buying opportunity? So CPR, that's what I'm looking for an individual stock. But when I'm looking at the market, I'm looking at the market timing graph. That's the difference between the two. So CPR, does that make sense? And to everybody in the room, does that make sense? I can time the market by looking at that indicator, but if I'm looking at individual stocks, I like using moving averages. I like looking at support and resistance, those kinds of things. Glenn, how long do you think Tesla will go? I think Tesla, go down. I think that while Elon Musk is still in the spotlight the way that he is, I still think that at some point in time there's going to be a mass exodus. I really think that it's going to be a mass exodus. That's my opinion. All right, I think they're going to get fed up of it. All right, so the Fed is coming on in about 6 minutes, folks, 6 minutes. Let's do this. I'm going to close this. And because I love you guys to death, let's go do some more of your stocks. I'm only going to do about 10 of them. And we're going to look at WTI since that's coming up. going to look at about 10 of your stocks real quick. We got 5 minutes before the Fed comes on. So what other stocks are you trading? I don't want duplicates of what you've already given to me. All right, DRV wasn't on the first list. Excellent. That's 2. Come on, y'all. SJT, good stock. LNG, good stock. Plug, good stock. What is that? Yeah, Altria, LNG I already looked at, Roger. FANG I already looked at. Marathon, SPXL. I'm also going to look at SQQQ, Apple. Oh, man, a guy after my own heart. How many stocks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did exactly 10. All right, let's peep these out. Let's go put these on intraday 1-minute bars. No, I don't want intraday. I want 1 month. I want to look at these on a 1 month. All right, woo! WTI, again, found a level of support. I'm waiting for the 3 to cross above the 8. I've got a buy stop order in for today, but the stock has got to clear $6. The stock's got to clear $6, which is still below this level of resistance at 621. All right, so Alton, how you doing here? Alton, is that our? No, that's Ashton. Oh, it's not Alton. It's Ashton. I'm like, is Ashton here? SMCI, we did look at, Cheryl. SMCI. So there's WTI. Ooh, DRV, just trending downward. I'd be careful with it. I'd wait for the 3 to go back above the 8. And you know, I would think that this should be keep going up because mortgage rates are high. People are not buying new real estate to build new houses. SJT, here's already an oil stock where the 3 is already crossed above the 8, but it's having a hard time getting above this level of resistance of 1184. LNG, man, just pulling down from the high. The 3 is getting close to the 8, right at a level of resistance, but a down day. A lot of buying pressure, though. Look at that, a lot of buying pressure. Umesh, we did look at Boeing. We got 3 minutes before the Fed comes on. I do like this candle, but it could also be a reversal if you want to call this a trend. It could be a hanging man that's really at an up, but I'd be careful with it. I do like the convergence of the 3 and the 8. The stock is in oversold territory, as well as a lot of stocks in petroleum are in that same scenario. Plug looks good. Not only going up, but going up on rising volume. You can't see that, can you? Now you can. But moving up on rising volume. I like that play. I like that play, and I cannot lie. That stock I may have to buy. That's right. Can't sit on an itty bitty stock and you can go and fly. Like, go and buy that stock. I can't tell you to do that work. I can't do that. I know. I can't tell you to buy it. But what you for? That was spitting off the top of the dome, bro. That wasn't rough. That was all right. Was that a cringe? Was that a cringe for you guys? I need to know. 2 minutes. I got you, Drew. Was that a cringe for you guys? How many of you are sitting at your computer like this? Type of 1. For everybody who's sitting at their computer like this, type of 1 in the room. All right. So let's go to. No, you're not. You don't look like that. Now you look like that. What did bosses say? Make it stop my ears. Wow, a lot of people typing 1s. Wow, Cigar says he thought it was clever. A lot of 1s. Man, dang. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. A couple of people said they were impressed. Gemini said Brooklyn strong. No, 2 people did. 2 people look in the chat. 2 people. 2 people said they were impressed. 2 people said they were impressed. All right, let's get through these stocks real quick. There's MRO, again, just like all the other oils, finding support. The convergence of the 3 and the 8, they haven't crossed yet. Wow, SPXL is all over the place. Be careful with this. This is a lot more volatile than I'd probably like for you guys to be in a stock. SQQQ, big jump, but the 3 still below the 8. I'd be careful with it. Update today. Apple, as much as I love it, I'm not in love with it. Trending down. I don't own it. And at this time, I would say be careful. All right, let's bring this up. Well, actually, I can bring that up with the market. How about we do that? Can they hear it when he comes on? Yep. All right, so you guys are going to be able to hear it. We're waiting for him to come up. Does not take much to impress some, says Sonny. Stop being a hater, Sonny. Stop being, we now just saw Glenn's DJ. That's not me DJing. I'm going to take some video this week at this house party. I'm doing a house Christmas party this weekend. I think I'm going to take some video and I'm going to put it up on you. Can I do that? No, it's me. I can? All right. So I think I'm going to put up some video of me DJing this weekend. How many of you would like to see that? Type of 1 in the room. If you really don't give a flying flip, type of 2. I want to know because it's going to determine whether or not I post it or not. If you would like to see me DJing this weekend, there it is. All right. If not, if you really don't care, type of 2. Glenn, give Powell your bullish glasses. All right. Mr. Powell, we really need for the market to go up. I don't agree with what you did, but you're the Fed chairman. I'm not. So if anything, if this could be the onset of a Santa rally, let's make it happen. Say the things that the people need to hear to make the market go higher. Other than that, you keep doing you, boo-boo, and we'll see what the market does. Okay. I did it. There you go. I gave him, would you buy plug long-term being below the 50-day moving average? Short-term, I like it. I did like the, short, but if long-term, if you're looking for it to be, if it's below the 50-day moving average, you don't like it, don't do it. All right. That's my suggestion. That's why you've got to have your rules in place on what you're looking for before you place the trade. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Here's the Fed. Here we go.
Good afternoon.
There we go.
Before I go into the details of today's meeting, I'd like to underscore for the American people that we understand the hardship that high inflation is causing and that we are strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal. Over the course of the year, we've taken forceful actions to tighten the stance of monetary policy. We've covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our rapid tightening so far are yet to be felt. Even so, we have more work to do.
More volume? Do they need more volume?
Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve and serves as the bedrock of our economy. Without price stability, the economy doesn't work for anyone.
How's that?
Without price stability, we will not achieve a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. Today, the FOMC raised our policy interest rate by a 0.5 percentage point.
Watch the screen, folks.
Anticipate that ongoing increases will be appropriate.
Look at the market.
In order to attain a stance of monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to return inflation to 2% over time. In addition, we're continuing the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet. Restoring price stability will likely require maintaining a restrictive policy stance for some time. I'll have more to say about today's monetary policy actions after briefly reviewing economic developments. The U.S. economy has slowed significantly from last year's rapid pace. Although real GDP rose at a pace of 2.9% last quarter, it is roughly unchanged through the first 3 quarters of this year. Recent indicators point to modest growth of spending.
You used to be my friend, Mark.
Growth in consumer spending has slowed from last year's rapid pace, in part reflecting lower real disposable income and tighter financial conditions. Activity in the housing sector has weakened significantly, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates. Higher interest rates and slower output growth also appear to be weighing on business fixed investment. As shown in our summary of economic projections, the median projection for real GDP growth stands at just 0.5% this year and next, well below the median estimate of the longer-run normal growth rate.
Holy, they're not
Despite
liking
the
this.
slowdown in growth, the labor market remains extremely tight, with the unemployment rate near a 50-year low.
You used to be my friend too, Mark.
Job vacancies still very high, and wage growth elevated. Job gains have been robust, with employment rising by an average of 272,000 jobs per month over the last 3 months. Although job vacancies have moved below their highs and the pace of job gains has slowed from earlier in the year, the labor market continues to be out of balance, with demand substantially exceeding the supply of available workers. The labor force participation rate is little changed since the beginning of the year. FOMC participants expect supply and demand conditions in the labor market to come into better balance over time, easing upward pressures on wages and prices. The median projection in the SEP for the unemployment rate rises to 4.6% at the end of next year. Inflation remains well above our longer-run goal of 2%. Over the 12 months ending in October, total PCE prices rose 6%.
Thank you,
excluding
Rodney.
the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 5%. In November, the 12-month change in the CPI was 7.1%, and the change in the core CPI was 6%. The inflation data received so far for October and November show a welcome reduction in the monthly pace of price increases. But it will take substantially more evidence to give confidence that inflation is on a sustained downward path.
I agree with you, Roger.
Price pressures remain evident across a broad range of goods and services. Russia's war against Ukraine has boosted prices for energy and food and has contributed to upward pressure on inflation. The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation is 5.6% this year and falls to 3.1% next year, 2.5% in 2024, and 2.1% in 2025. Participants continue to see risks to inflation as weighted to the upside. Despite elevated inflation, longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households, businesses, and forecasters, as well as measures from financial markets. But that is not grounds for complacency. The longer the current bout of high inflation continues, the greater the chance that expectations of higher inflation will become entrenched.
Yep.
The Fed's monetary policy actions are guided by our mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people.
That's the Fed's job.
My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation.
Still
We
going
are highly
lower.
attentive to the risks that high inflation poses to both sides of our mandate, and we are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% objective. At today's meeting, the committee raised the target range for the federal funds rate by a 0.5 percentage point, bringing the target range to 4.25% to 4.5%. And we are continuing the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet. With today's action, we have raised interest rates by 4.25 percentage points this year. We continue to anticipate that ongoing increases in the target range for the federal funds rate will be appropriate in order to attain a stance of monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to return inflation to 2% over time. Over the course of the year, financial conditions have tightened significantly in response to our policy actions. Financial conditions fluctuate in the short term in response to many factors, but it is important that over time they reflect the policy restraint that we're putting in place to return inflation to 2%. We are seeing the effects on demand in the most interest-sensitive sectors of the economy, such as housing. It will take time, however, for the full effects of monetary restraint to be realized, especially on inflation.
Which is why
in light of the cumulative tightening of monetary policy and the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation, the committee decided to raise interest rates by 50 basis points today, a step down from the 75 basis point pace seen over the previous 4 meetings. Of course, 50 basis points is still a historically large increase, and we still have some ways to go. As shown in the SEP, the median projection for the appropriate level of the federal funds rate is 5.1% at the end of next year, a 0.5 percentage point higher than projected in September.
2%.
The median projection is 4.1% at the end of 2024 and 3.1% at the end of 2025, still above the median estimate of its longer run value.
Real quick, how many of you think that we get to 2%? Type of 1, type of 2 if you don't think so.
Plan,
real quick.
And no one knows with any certainty where the economy will be a year or more from now. Our decisions will depend on the totality of incoming data and their implications for the outlook for economic activity and inflation. And we will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting.
Good question. What year, says Albert?
Possible. We are taking forceful steps to moderate demand so that it comes into better alignment with supply. Our overarching focus is using our tools to bring inflation back down to our 2% goal and to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below-trend growth and some softening of labor market conditions. Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the long run. The historical record cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy. We will stay the course until the job is done. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I will look forward to your questions.
All right. How many of you want to watch the
Steve
question?
Leishman, CNBC. Thanks for taking my question, Mr. Chairman. You just talked about the importance of
yes or no. One, if you want to watch the questions. Two, if you don't.
Restraint you put in place. Since the November meeting, the 10-year has declined by 60 basis points. Mortgage rates have come down. High-yield credit spreads have come in. The economy's accelerated, and the stock market's up 6%. Is this loosening of financial conditions a problem for the Fed in its effort and its fight against inflation? And if so, do you need to do something about that, and how would you do something about it?
I'm with Pierre. We'll do it for a few minutes.
It is important that overall financial conditions continue to reflect the policy restraint that we're putting in place to bring inflation down to 2%. We think that financial conditions have tightened significantly in the past year, but our policy actions work through financial conditions, and those in turn affect economic activity, the labor market, and inflation. So what we control is our policy moves and the communications that we make. Financial conditions both anticipate and react to our actions. I would add that our focus is not on short-term moves, but on persistent moves, and many things, of course, move financial conditions over time. I would say it's our judgment today that we're not at a sufficiently restrictive policy stance yet, which is why we say that we would expect that ongoing hikes would be appropriate. And I would point you to the SEP again for our current assessment of what that peak level will be. As you will have seen, 19 people filled out the SEP this time, and 17 of those 19 wrote down a peak rate of 5% or more, in the fives. So that's our best assessment.
That's what the SIF said.
For what we
3
think
to 5.
the peak rate will be. You will also know that at each subsequent SEP during the course of this year, we've actually increased our estimate of what that peak rate will be. And today, the SEP that were published shows that, again, that overwhelmingly FOMC participants believe that inflation risks are to the upside. So I can't tell you confidently that we won't move up our estimate of the peak rate again at the next SEP. I don't know what we'll do. It will depend on future data. What we're writing down today is our best estimate of what we think that peak rate will be.
Market like that answer.
Obviously, if the inflation data comes in
I got
worse,
that written down, Kevin.
Could move up and it could move down if inflation data are softer.
Another question, and then we'll go. Hi, my name is Glenn Tompkins from VectorVest. I'd like to ask a question.
The SEP, like you mentioned, suggests that the Fed will be making another 0.75 percentage points worth of rate increases in 2023. I wonder if you would foresee that being in 25 basis point increments, 50 basis point increments, sort of how you see the speed playing out going forward. And then I wonder what you're looking at as you determine when to stop.
Yeah. Ooh, when to stop?
So,
did he get stumped?
As I've been saying, as we've gone through the course of this year, as we lifted off and got into the course of the year, and we saw how strong inflation was and how persistent, it was very important to move quickly. In fact, the speed, the pace with which we were moving was the most important thing. I think now that we're coming to the end of this year, we've raised 425 basis points this year.
I agree, Sonny.
We're into restrictive territory. It's now not so important how fast we go. It's far more important to think what is the ultimate level, and then at a certain point, the question
markets
becomes how long do we
reacting to his
restrict it?
answers.
That will become the most important question. But I would say the most important question now is no longer the speed. So, and that applies to February as well. So I think we'll make the February decision based on the incoming data and where we see financial conditions, where we see the economy, and that'll be the key thing. But I mean, for that decision. But ultimately, that question about how high to raise rates is going to be one that we make looking at our progress on inflation, looking at where financial conditions are, and making an assessment of whether policy is restrictive enough. I've told you today we have an assessment that we're not at a restrictive enough stance, even with today's move, and we've laid out our individual assessments of what we would need to do to get there. At a certain point, though, that we'll get to that point, and then the question will be how long do we stay there? And the strong view on the committee is that we'll need to stay there, until we're really confident that inflation is coming down in a sustained way, and we think that will be some time. And why do I say that? If you look at you can break inflation down into three sort of buckets. The first is goods inflation, and we see now, as we've been expecting for a year and a half, that supply conditions would get better, and ultimately supply chains get fixed, and demand settles down a little bit and maybe goes back to services a little bit, and we start to see goods inflation coming down. We're now starting to see that in this report and the last one. Then you go to housing services. We know the story there is that housing services inflation has been very, very high and will continue to go up, actually, as rents expire and have to be renewed. They're going to be renewed into a market where rates are higher than they were when the original leases were signed. But we see that the new leases that the rate for new leases is coming down. So once we work our way through that backlog, that inflation will come down sometime next year. The third piece, which is something like 55% of the index, PCE core inflation index, is non-housing related core services. And that's really a function of the labor market largely. That's the biggest cost by far in that sector is labor. And we do see a very, very strong labor market, one where we haven't seen much softening, where job growth is very high, where wages are very high, vacancies are quite elevated, and really there's an imbalance in the labor market between supply and demand. So that part of it, which is the biggest part, is likely to take a substantial period to get down. The goods inflation has turned pretty quickly now, after not turning at all for a year and a half. Now it seems to be turning, but there's an expectation really that the services inflation will not move down so quickly, so that we'll have to stay at it, so that we may have to raise rates higher to get to where we want to go. And that's really why we are writing down those high rates and why we're expecting that they'll have to remain high for a time.
All right. I'm done listening to him. I'm going to close this out. All right. Market responded back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Let's go do something. We're going to do something a little fun. All right. Because I strive very hard to give you the information that you need. As a matter of fact, I'm going to close this. Let's do this. Let's see what industries, based upon what's going on right now, let's see what industries are on the move. Anybody okay with that? Type of 1, if you're okay with that. Type of 2, if you just want me to leave and go home now. All right, let's go see what the information that we got, what industries are on the move right now to take advantage of. If you're interested in that, type of 1. If you just want me to go home, I can. Type of 2. All right, so let's just, good. Let's go peep this out. It looks like you guys want it. Let's go to Unisearch, Delta Searches Industries. Let's go see what industries are on the rise. All right, so in this search, I'm looking for industry relative timing, only germane to the VectorVest software. Over the last 10 days, what the delta or the change in percentage was on relative timing. We're going to see what's on the rise. And then we want to see what industries after that point have gone up from 10 days ago till now. All right, so let's go check this out. Let's run the search. Let's stream it. Let's run the search. Let's see what industries. What the flying flip? Let's run the search again. What industries had a change. So 10 days ago, insurance brokers had a 17% move in Delta. Over the last 10 days, it's up 41%. That's an industry that's on the rise. Out of 221 industries, it ranks number 93. Let's go see what stocks are in there. All right, so I'm trying to give you some. Alexander, we listened to him enough. He talked. I didn't want to have you guys, because you guys can do this on your own, Alexander. You can. So I just wanted to give a little glimpse of what was going on. EHTH on the rise, even though the market's pulling back. Let's take a look at that. View that stock graph. Put this on a 1-month graph. I like the move. They're coming back on it. The 3 is still above the 8 and broke through a level of resistance and an up day while the market's moving down. I'd keep my eye on that. Ramon says he's on TV. So, Alexander, you can still watch it. You can still watch him. I like that the stock went from a hold to a buy. Keep your eyes on that stock. Now, Roger says ETH is bleeding money. Now, understand, I'm not reading into any news on this. Let's peep that out. Growth. Ooh, Roger's right. See, I didn't analyze it. I just looked at the graph. This is why with VectorVest, you analyze the stock. I like the move. But fundamentally, the stock is losing money. There you go. Thank you, Roger. And it's got negative earnings growth rate. Relative value and relative safety, both below the value of 1. So this stock happens to be a very speculative stock. Can you look at Moderna? I like the news on Moderna. With Pfizer and Moderna with the cancer drug, I think it's got some upside. The only problem with that, Maria, is a lot of these drug companies are spurred on by news. And how many times have you seen a drug company make a pop and then turn around and drop? Type of 1. How many times have you seen a drug company move on news, make a big pop, and then turn around and drop? Type of 1. It happens a lot of times. It happens a lot of times. I will do this. If I'm going to look at Moderna, I got to look a little deeper. Relative value below 1, relative safety below 1. Earnings are good, but negative earnings growth. This is one of those stocks. That it's news driven, but the fundamentals are not there. Does that make sense, Maria? So I love the news on it, but fundamentally it ain't there. I don't think it's got the wherewithal to continue to move up. Maria, does that make sense? And I can put in Pfizer along with that and do the same thing. Pfizer's been around a lot longer. Pfizer's a lot more stable. And how about that? Relative value above 1, relative safety above 1, positive earnings growth. I like the news on the Moderna stock, but the Pfizer stock is a more solid, more entrenched stock. So if I'm going to look at the two, Pfizer's the way to go. Moderna is being moved on the news, but the fundamentals are not there for the longevity. The Pfizer does have the longevity. All right, does that make sense to everybody in the room? Because that was a great question. All right, that was a great question. I'll put BNTX in there as well, real quick. If I'm looking at all 3 of these stocks, BNTX, BioNTech, same scenario as Pfizer. Same scenario as Moderna. Negative earnings, positive earnings, but negative earnings growth. I do like the move. I don't know if this was news driven, but if I'm looking at all 3 of these stocks, Pfizer's the way to go. Pfizer's the way to go. Where can we find some unethical drug companies? They're ethical drug companies. I don't want the unethical companies. All right, let's go look at what other industries. We'll take a look at another industry real quick. I like this one, machinery. I like this one, machinery. Oh, no, media. Is it media? It's media. Media periodicals. A percentage change on RT 10 days ago, 4.7. Look at the move over the last week, and it's number 93. I want to look at machinery, though, because 2.97% 10 days ago, and a nice move up 20% over the last 10 days. and it's number 31 out of 221 industries. Let's see what stocks are in there. All right. And are you in any crypto? Yep. I've got a small $1,000 portfolio with crypto. One day I'm going to wake up and be a trillionaire. When? Don't know. I'm not feeling any of these stocks in here. The only one in here that's got upside potential is PGNT. The stock is undervalued, good upside potential. This is more of an aggressive play. RT is above 1, positive earnings and positive earnings growth. If I'm looking at anything from an analysis standpoint, I'm looking at PGNT. Let's go look at this graph, though. Let's go look at the graph, 1 month graph. Yeah, I'm not feeling that. The volume's not there. All right. Put me on my end screen. Folks, did we have fun today? Type of 1. Did we have fun today? Type of 1. All right. I know the market is serious stuff. It is serious stuff, but you got to have a little fun. We watched the market live. We watched the reaction to the market. We looked at a couple of things for some industries for you guys to look at. And, you know, I'm glad that you guys are here to support the channel. I appreciate that. We got 120 likes. Way to go. We had a lot of people here. Well, on a day like today, we normally get more people in the room than we normally do. But I want to try to make this a mainstay. I'd like to get 300 or more people every live stream we do. The only way that happens is you guys got to get some people to come here with you. You've got to invite people, all right? And I know that a lot of you have followers. You do. Get them to at least tune in. I'll worry about getting them to stay, but you need to get them into the room for me, all right? If you were going to buy a stock today, what would it be? So let me answer that question this way. Even though you don't see my screen, I don't need you to see my screen right now, but I'm looking at the market timing graph. I'm looking at the home page. I'm not buying anything right now. We went from 3 green lights in our color guard to 3 yellow lights. Our guidance right now, bro, is VectorVest advocates caution. If I needed to go find a stock, I will show you this. Bring me back on to put my screen back on. I will show you this. If you are really looking for a stock to buy, I would go to our stock viewer. But I want you to do this one thing first, bro, is understand the guidance. The guidance says it's not the right time to buy stocks. Does that make sense to you, first of all? Does that make sense? All right, bro, tell me, does that make sense? Right now, the guidance says no. But if I'm looking at something to get into, I would look at our top VST stocks. I would look not only at our top VST stocks, but look at the top VST stocks that are going up today. All right, I would look at a stock like PBT, OIS, HNRG. Oh, notice something? What are they? Oil and energy. Manufacturing. Look at Technoglass. Bro, this is what I'd be looking for. All right, this is what I'd be looking for. If I really had to go buy some stocks today, I would go to some of the best stocks ranked by our master indicator VST, and I would pay attention to the ones that are going up. All right, why is the material sector down? Mr. Max Biker, I don't always have the answers to those questions. I don't know. I don't know. And I would have to do some research in order to get you that answer. I don't always know. That's just me being honest with you. All right, today I had sausage instead of bacon, but it's early yet. I didn't have any. mRNA, we just talked about it. If I'm looking at a stock in that space, I'm thinking Pfizer by way of its graph and by way of the analysis. Hey, 1, thank you for being here today. 2, thank you for participating with the stocks. We looked at a lot of stocks today, and the Fed gave a lot of information. Inflation, hardship, he's got a 2% objective. He needs to reduce the balance sheet. I think that that's going to be big. Strict monetary policy is still going to keep going. People have lower disposable income, poor housing market. The job market is out of balance. Job participation has moved very little. The war in Ukraine has influenced inflation. Inflation appears well anchored. But with that, there's no time for complacency. He talked about, again, the reduction of the balance sheet. He said so far they've risen interest rates by 4.25% this year. He says he needs to stay the course. Even though he went only 50 basis points, he says he's going to stay the course. Ongoing heights are appropriate and not, right now, we're not at a restrictive enough stance. Those are all my notes. You want to see my writing? Show you my writing. All right, here's my writing. All right, listen, why are you trying to kick me off? Anyway, I'm getting off. Joey needs a pay raise, Glenn. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. All right, folks. Thank you for being here. Love you all. Support the channel, and I will continue to bring the best content that I possibly can. Adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Keep your feet out of the lava. Bom dia, salam, shalom, namaste. Yasu. Until the next time, folks, see ya.